say, being on the internet more than the average person probably, it still astounds me when I see just blatant ignorance and stupidity. Very basic knowledge that human beings should have. They lack. There's a whole sect of people who believe the world is flat. There are people who, when you tell them humans belong to the kingdom Animalia, like they are classified as animals based on the definition for animal, they get upset. There are people in society who just straight up ignore science, and there are even some science or scientific people, mindedly people, or scientists as an occupation that are just foregoing scientific fact. Like, it's just, I don't know how else to explain how flabbergasted I feel at seeing this. And I legitimately am wondering, okay, I get some people like trolling and stuff, but no, you actually talk to legitimate people, real people, because AI is not that stupid. And they're saying the weirdest things. Like, I can never, I don't even, okay, so on my alternate channel, right, there was this video. So people are talking about this orangutan self-medicating. Now, I can understand why this would be interesting because they've never actually seen this happen. But the way they're fawning over, like, oh my God, one of those creatures that are also primates like humans are actually uses medicine. Oh my God, when it's already been long established for years and years upon years that other primates are very intelligent. We are primates. Human beings, Homo sapiens, are primates. And just like our ancestors learned how to do all that stuff, why is it shocking to see chimpanzees and orangutans using medicine? Like, it's just, I don't even know why it's shocking to them. Okay, maybe because they caught it on camera and they've never caught it on camera before. But the way that people are like, oh my God, clap, we didn't know you were as intelligent as us. Oh my goodness. Even though it's already been a long-standing thing that these creatures are intelligent, just like we are, maybe we evolved a little more in certain areas than they have because of pressures, environmental pressures and whatnot, but it could have easily have been them. And I think if years were to progress where humans were ousted, they probably would take over. It's just, hey, you got here before we did, but we have the capability of getting there. Just give us 1,000 more years. I think it's one of those situations. And our ancestors were like that. Now, I get you have the creationist folks that are like, oh my God, God created Adam and Eve, and through incest, we all became what we are. Sure, why not? But if you live in the real world, even when I was a Christian, I believed in evolution because after you see the evidence, I'm not even just talking about, okay, let's just say you don't believe dinosaurs are real, which is freaking wild to me. But let's just say you're like, I don't know if dinosaurs are real. You can see real life, like short-term evidence of that through sexual selection, through adaptability. You see that in human beings themselves. So it's like, how do you see these things and see the evidence right before your eyes, which you can't even do with religion, and then decide that's fake? Like, I'm sorry if I'm being condescending, but you will tell people this because it's something we're all required to learn in school, and people will still look at that and be like, nah, fam. Like, what? Okay, so here's the comment. This is the video. And I honestly didn't expect the comment to blow up as much as it did. I just put people forget that humans are animals too. Because it is something that people forget. Like, of course, when we're talking about animals, we differentiate, oh, the animals, because it's easier than just saying, you know, when you're differentiating humans from animals, you're not talking specifically about humans. But technically, we are animals as well. And because we differentiate ourselves or put ourselves in a state of superiority over every other organism in our surrounding ecosystems, we think that humans are somehow gods and outside of all of that. So I have people commenting, and a lot of them are like, no, we're not. Who taught you that? Like, bro, what? That's like someone saying, the earth isn't round. Where'd you get that from? What do you mean? What are you talking about? And then they try to say, oh, well, it's because you're a furry. First of all, number one, I ain't a furry, okay? And whether or not you believe that, I do not identify as a furry. So for the fucking 100th time, everyone that's asking, no. Even though I can understand why people would think that, I have a video on that, by the way. I know it went really horribly the way I explained it in the video, so that's my fault. But no, I do not identify as a furry. So you believe that? Sure. But even if I did, that wouldn't negate the fucking science. Let's go back to school, shall we? Are you ready, class? What is an animal. Before we start debating whether or not humans are animals, let's first look at the definition of animal, because I think a lot of people don't even know what the fucking animal is. You tell them what an animal is, and they're like, that's not an animal. That's a human, or that's not an animal, it's an insect. Okay. Do you even know what an animal is? It's like a woman. Do you know what a woman is? Do you know what a man is? Do you know what a child is? You have to know what those basic things are before you can say whether or not something is or is not those things. Google is here, guys. Google is here. This wonderful thing now that even if you don't have education, the internet is right here. Like, it's a few, you type in what is an animal. Bro, we have chatbots too that will even tell you, bro. But it's here. You don't even need to pay for an education. You just need to pay for electricity and your internet connection. You're good. Yo, bro, homeless people have cell phones with data that they don't have to pay for, and they can get this information for fucking free. It is free. Definition, animals. Animals are multicellular, eukaryotic organisms in the biological kingdom Animalia. With few exceptions, animals consume organic material, food like us, breathe oxygen like us, have myocytes and are able to move like us, can reproduce sexually like us, and grow from a hollow sphere of cells, the blastula, during embryonic development. Oh my God, so do we. Isn't that crazy? You want an even simpler definition if that just eludes you. You know what none of those things fucking are. An animal is a living thing, aka an organism, that can move and eat and react to the world through its senses, especially of sight and hearing. Mammals, which we are, unless you're from fucking space, insects, reptiles, and birds, say it with me, are all animals. Are you not a mammal? Then shut the fuck up. In ordinary use, animal means all living beings except humans. A lion is a wild animal and a dog is a domestic animal. So when you're talking about mundane use, you're not gonna call other people, you're an animal, because we've used this as an identifier to differentiate species outside of our own. Because it's harder to, I guess, relate to them. Since we are humans, we just call ourselves other human beings. But we are still classified as animals. I'm pretty sure to other animals, they classify us as a type of animals. They don't look at us as like, oh my God, the humans, even though writers and, when we're talking about stuff from animals' point of view, we'll specify the animal saying, oh, humans, or those two-leggeds, because that's how humans understand that. That's how they identify human beings, even in those worlds, because we are human beings. But if you look at things from a horse's or an ape's point of view, especially with like how we act and stuff, other apes, other animals, dolphins, they're gonna look at us as those animals. They're looking at us as other animals. Maybe that's not their word for it, but that's exactly the way that they would see us, the same way we see them. But all of us fall under the umbrella of animal based on the definition of animal. Just like we have dogs, right? Dogs are technically wolves. And then I'll show you the proof again. So here we have Canis, right? We have class, kingdom, Animalia, they're animals. Family, Canidae, Eukaryota, Mammalia for the class, scientific name Canis. Canis is a genus of the Caninae, which includes multiple extant species such as wolves, dogs, coyotes, and golden jackals. Species of the genus are distinguished by their moderate to large size, their massive, well-developed skulls and dentition, long legs, and comparatively short ears and tails. Dog versus wolf. These are dogs over here, Siberian Huskies. This is a wolf. Dogs and wolves are the same species. And you'll know they're the same species because when they get together to smash, they can have puppies that are also capable of smashing other dogs or wolves and making more babies. However, even though dogs are technically wolves or a subspecies of wolves, we refer them as dogs, separate from wolves. We don't call them, oh, domesticated wolves or wolves, because they are part of our society and our direct ecosystem. We differentiate them from the wild alternative by giving them their own name, dog, perro, okay? So that's why human beings are called humans, dogs are called dogs. It is what it is, even though technically, yes, a dog is a wolf. Your little Pomeranian Chihuahua, they're wolves. You hold a little male Chihuahua up to a wolf in heat, providing she doesn't eat him, he can get her pregnant and she can have puppies that can then have kids of their own unless there's something genetically wrong with them. This ain't rocket science, guys. We're not asking you to build a Starlink satellite. This is just common knowledge, or it should be. And if you didn't know about it for some reason and someone is telling you this is the case, maybe go fact check what the person is saying before you respond all like, no, it's not. Bitch, y'all look stupid. Oh my God. It is so infuriating how stupid some people are. I usually don't stoop to that level of poking fun at people and just for this, but legitimately, like, the stupidity is killing me. It is killing me because nah, you cannot have people this perpetually stupid. You're living on the internet and yet you don't know what is only a click away, the basic knowledge. Like it just takes you 2 seconds. You don't believe me? That's fine. Ask questions. You should be able to ask questions. When someone gives me a piece of information that I'm like, I don't know about that, I tell them I'm not sure, or I'll argue my point. And when they said, no, actually this is the case, I shut my mouth and I go and I fact check. Even my husband, he is very brilliant. I consider him, he's way smarter than me in a lot of things. Dude can build computers and shit. So yeah, when he tells me something about tech, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. And if it's something where I'm like, okay, I don't know if you're right, he gets kind of offended because that's literally his job. But I will still go and fact check because it's not common knowledge to me, because building computers isn't common knowledge to everyone. They don't teach us that in elementary school. They don't teach us that in middle school and high school. Everybody's supposed to have the education. And even if that's the case, and let's say you didn't go to school, as I said before, the internet is there, bro. The internet is there. Like, it's... Who needs school? You got the internet. Internet, as a matter of fact, I would argue that the internet is a better teacher in a lot of ways with the information it provides you than school is. Want to know something funny? The majority of what I learned when I took these classes was stuff I learned from online. It wasn't taught in school. They gave us a textbook that was so outdated, and I found the new information and learned most of what I learned, like especially when it came to certain cameras and models and software. I learned all of that. So I basically paid for no reason, which I don't even want to get into because it makes me mad every time I think about it. But I was able to learn using the internet. Everyone, I think, can relate to that, except for some people. You have the capability of lifting your fingers to type a brain dead comment, but you can't lift your fingers to click on the microphone on Google and ask it what an animal is, so you can be sure that you're responding factually. Wow. I don't care if I'm being condescending right now. Some of y'all need to go back to school, or you need to go. I don't understand how you have all of this knowledge at your fingertips and you don't know basic science. Basic science. Basic. What the fuck?